Hi, welcome to episode 3 of Stress, Pubs and Rock and Roll. I'm Simon.
Hello, I'm Kirsty.
How are you doing?
Not too bad, thank you. How are you?
I'm alright. I'm not ill.
Yay!
Not ill.
No more ill.
For once.
That's good.
You've been busy, so let me put this in context. The first 2 podcasts we did, we hadn't actually launched it anywhere. So we recorded those in advance. This is the first one we've done since we've told people about it.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is a bit more real now. It's a bit more of a real thing.
Yeah, we've had some feedback, taking it on board. Well, going to try anyway. I'm still working out the technical issues, I would say.
Yes, it's been a learning curve, but a fun one. And honestly, thank you for everyone who's given us feedback. 90% of it has been really good, I think. The only things people have said negative are maybe the sound, and we know about it, maybe a little bit quiet. So, we're just trying to get to grips with equipment. Yeah,
I'm on it. I am learning on the job, just like a professional.
So hopefully this is a little bit louder for everyone. And if I'm probably talking to the converted here, if you're listening to this podcast right now, you will probably, you obviously know about it, but you might not know all the places to listen. So you may well be listening on YouTube. Mm-hmm. If you are, and it's easier, feel free to find us on iTunes. We're on Castbox, which is the Android podcast platform, I believe. We are on YouTube, if you're listening on one of those and you fancy listening to us on YouTube. And get in touch with us on Facebook as well. We have our own Facebook page now, which is facebook.com/Thsi and Kirsty podcast, because it was easier than the full name of the podcast.
The whole thing.
Or just Google us, Stress, Pubs and Rock and Roll. And we seem to be coming up on page 1 of Google, which is great.
That's good. Good news all around, I would say.
But no, thank you for thank you for everyone for their feedback. It's been fun. Thank you very much. You might, if this is the first time you're listening to us, then you might want to go back and check out episode 1 and episode 2. If this is your third go, then you will know by now that we do have a rough topic every episode. But we take a long while to get there. Hopefully,
a little journey.
Hopefully it's entertaining on the way there. But at some point today, we will be talking about how to find bandmates and auditions and just starting a band and stuff. And actually, do you know, I don't know what you think, Kirsty, but what we're trying to do with this, and hopefully it comes across, is tread a fine line. We don't want it to be a music show. 2 reasons. One, because, there's loads of podcasts out there recommending new music. What we like, you guys might not like. It's very very personal.
Yeah.
Secondly, you might be able to hear a train. We're in a different studio tonight, and there's a lovely train going past. If you can't hear it, then I just sound weird.
Yeah.
If you can hear it, that explains what the noise is.
If you can hear it, we are train spotting tonight, and we'll be doing a podcast about train spotting.
What we're trying to do with the podcast is make it. We weren't talking about music. We weren't playing music on the podcast.
Yeah.
For 2 reasons. One, because we don't want to be the source of recommending music. You can do that for yourself, and there's loads of places and loads of people already doing that service.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And a few people have asked, are we going to have live music on the show? I'm calling it a show now. Look at this. We've now... It's upgraded from episode to show.
We need a jingle.
Oh, yeah, we have been talking about a jingle.
Yeah.
And that's as far as we've got.
We've talked
about it. We have a very good idea for one, but none of us have been off their own arses to actually record it.
We've been busy. We have
been pretty busy.
We're busy people.
But we will have a jingle. If anyone wants to make us a jingle and send us one, if we like it, we may well use it. That will be a good thing to do.
Competition.
You can win the prize of coming on and doing the jingle live if you would like to. So the other thing is, I think what we're trying to also do is, not make it too local. There's loads of local stories, and it's great that, we've already had loads of interest from you local musicians. I know Ryan's been in touch from Buildings on Fire, which are a really good Reading band, and they're loving the podcast, and little shout out to them. So check them out. And it's great that we've got local involvement, but also we know that, hey, this is a podcast and this is World Wide Web and all that. So we're going to keep it open and talk about a load of different stuff, because we don't want to exclude people.
Definitely.
And also we're not trying to make it too musician-y either, I think.
Yeah, so it's relatable to people who are within music and those who are not necessarily within the music industry, but those who enjoy music, and generally people who could possibly relate to what we're doing and saying anyway. It's meant to be a light-hearted, kind of enjoyable thing for the whole family.
So anyway, that's what we were attempting to do. You can be the judge of whether we're achieving it, and hopefully, if nothing else, it's entertaining. And we will be getting around to playing some music at some point.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll get our instruments out, or we'll play some recorded music. But hey, we're just learning the technical side, so...
Yeah, I mean, one step at a time, guys.
Easiness in.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've been quite busy since we last did an episode.
Yeah, I've been a bit crazy busy, but really good though. Really good busy. I played at Concord 2. Did I tell you?
No.
I played at Concord 2. It was amazing. But it wasn't an originals gig. It was live karaoke band.
Hey, that's fine.
We got... Oh, I tell you what, if any musicians are listening and you ever get the opportunity to play at Concord 2 in Brighton, it is the best venue I've ever played at in my entire life. I will hands down say that. They looked after us so well. They have bathrooms and shower rooms in their dressing room, so you get a dressing room.
Wow.
And it's not skanky, it's nice. And you have a fridge, a kettle, they get you food, and then they offer you fresh, clean towels if you want to have a shower.
Are you sure this
show.
isn't a brothel? It sounds very much like I imagine.
I imagine what a brothel would be like. But the sound guys there as well, the sound team, they've all been there for over 10 years working there.
Oh, cool.
Because they absolutely love it, and they're great. They looked after us, and they also looked after the people who were... Because we were doing a karaoke, people were coming...
With a backing track or with a band?
With a band.
Cool.
Like bandyoke, kind of.
Rockyoke. Well, there's a couple of... I've seen that done a few times and it's good. Yeah,
it's good fun. So they were looking after the people that were coming up as well. And we just had a really great time.
And this place sounds cool. It sounds like a good setup. You get food, you get, weirdly, showers and towels, which is the bit I'm struggling with.
So in your dressing room, each dressing room had a bathroom.
I just think I'm jealous.
I think that's what it is.
The last gig I did was I got promised a dressing room was a working man's club, and it turned out to be firstly it was it was a cupboard, just happened to have a sink in it, and also it's where they stacked all the chairs. So and I'd kind of committed to using it because it was off the stage, so I'd sort of gone off the stage and gone into this what I thought was going to be a room, turned out to be literally standing space, pretty much a cupboard.
Wow.
And then everyone arrived, so I'm I'm stuck in the cupboard now, because I wanted to sort of do the whole kind of coming in from the wings sort of thing. So I just spent 20 minutes cramped in a cupboard with a load of stacked chairs. So I'm just jealous because that's my only experience really
Glamour.
Of having a dressing room.
Yeah, it reminds me of a time when we got given a dressing room before. It was a proper dressing room with the the mirrors with the lights.
Yeah.
Around the edge. The Hollywood sort of vision of a dressing room, and you think, oh yeah, dressing room. Right. So we were really excited about this because we'd seen photos of it from other bands who'd played this venue, and they were like, oh yeah, well, we got a dressing room, and they took photos. We were like, wow, we got there, and since whenever that had happened, they started using this dressing room as the storage room for all the tables and chairs, and even the toilet was not safe from the storage. And we were sat in there cramped up against furniture that had been stacked against the walls, and there's no usually in a dressing room, if they're going to call you on stage, this particular dressing room was on the side of the stage, and they normally have a little box or something.
Yeah, in the
so they can compare to you and be like, oh, you need to be ready for stage in 5 minutes if they don't have somebody coming to collect you.
And you can normally hear what's going on the stage, can't you?
Yeah, you couldn't hear anything. You didn't hear anything. You didn't know what was going on. You didn't know if there was even people there.
Oh, that would have been disappointing after all the sort of niceties to come out to nobody.
It felt felt like that though. Finally, this guy sort of rocked up and he came in and he said, 5 minutes, about 5 minutes. And we're like, well, is it 5 minutes or about 5 minutes? Like, give us a clue. So we sort of had to guess. And we came out on stage and he started doing this huge, welcome to the stage, like this. And it was really embarrassing. And the room, there was probably 5 people in there. About 5 people, I would say. It was just the worst thing. That's the thing as well. Such a huge production. I'll give it away. It's the Grosvenor Casino, Reading South. It's when they also really funny. Actually, they printed a huge vinyl. I suppose you would call it a poster. It's a huge vinyl advertising thing, massive. I would say
it sounds like a poster to me.
Yeah, but how long?
Like a billboard. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, kind of, but vinyl. I don't know if you know how expensive it is to like print a vinyl backdrop. If you've ever tried to print a vinyl backdrop for your band or whatever, it's serious money for like a decent sized one that people would be able to see on a relatively small stage for a capacity of about 130. You're looking about 150, 200 pounds for a decent one. So this thing is about 7 foot tall, easily 12 foot wide, of our faces.
Wow.
Man is plastered down Rosekiln Lane on the outside of Grosvenor Casino for about 6 months. And
no wonder no one turned up.
And also, they put so this thing must have cost about 800 quid, I'm guessing. They put the date on it. They've printed the date on it, so they can't even reuse it, which is incredible. And people that I knew who drove through Reading kept taking photographs of it and sending it to me.
Your giant ugly mug on a big bit of vinyl probably put people off.
I wanted to steal it.
Yeah, that is a sort of cool thing to have, though. In the garage, I've got I did a gig at a pub, and it's a nice pub. Yeah, I say that because hopefully I'll get a repeat booking at some point.
Yeah.
But it's quite a way away, and it was a really, really small pub, like one of those pubs that you sort of like, I can't even sort of lift my speakers onto the stand because the ceiling's too low, and you get about 4 people in there, and it's busy.
Yeah.
And I got there, and they printed like an A1 size poster of like my face out the front. Like, it was massive, and it was an okay gig. Like there was not many people because you couldn't get many people in the pub.
Yeah.
But I kept the poster.
Yes.
So I'm like, at some point I will put that up just because it's kind of cool.
Put it up in the background.
To have a massive poster of
we'll
yourself.
Take a selfie.
Yeah.
It would be like selfie-ception, kind of.
I know what happened. That'll stay in the garage probably for another 10 years, and then I'll throw it out. It's gone mouldy or dog-eared or something like that. But
shame.
Yeah.
That's
Talking
cool.
of the casino, I've tried to get a gig there quite a few times, and I think I've been a little bit ambitious with my quotes because I'll be totally honest. Because it's a casino, I'm thinking, well, they must make a bit of money. It's a casino, so I've been like, ka-ching, it's this much to play, and then both times they've gone, we'll check and get back to you, and they never have. So,
now, off microphone, I will tell you how much they pay.
Okay, we'll discuss.
Yeah, we'll discuss that off microphone. Won't discuss monies over the podcast. By the way, guys, just...
I try and be pretty fair and equitable to pubs and have a very consistent policy.
Yeah.
But I saw the word casino and I was like, man, casinos must make a fortune.
They do.
Yeah.
Well, you know now that they paid about £800 for a massive banner for one show.
Well, exactly.
So
yeah, so
I'm just saying you can,
well,
you know, you're intelligent enough to put 2 and 2 together and work out what they're probably going to be paying. Yeah. But they're into this guy at the moment who's doing the whole. We talked about it last time. Mickey Bubble, Michael Bublé, that kind of thing. That kind of thing. That's sort of what they're doing at the moment. They're trying to make it more like a show kind of thing. And and I have a story to share about the performance that we did there, which was legendary. But I will leave that for another time because it's not relevant to this one.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Here we go.
I was going to talk about music news.
Yeah.
And because I feel like we should embrace what's going on around us.
Yes, I've got quite an interesting one I want to talk about after this.
Now, in the thing I said earlier, we are not going to get into the habit of pushing what we like and what we don't like, but we will occasionally slag off artists because I think it's about being genuine as well. If I don't like someone, I'm going to say I don't like them because that is being honest. And if you are listening and you do happen to like the person I'm talking about, then feel free to comment and have a debate. And I like that sort of stuff. That is absolutely fine. I'm not saying that they are rubbish. I'm just saying I don't like them.
Yes.
But I've managed to find 3 bits of very high-profile music news in the last couple of weeks that actually involve 3 artists that I really don't like. But I'm still going to talk about it because I can't just pick stuff I like.
No. You have to be fair.
I know. And the first one is that the DJ Avicii died. Yeah. Which is very sad. By all accounts, very well respected in his field. I know loads of people who... I have to say, I think it might be an age thing. I never really liked dance music, and I'm older, which doesn't help. So I feel out of touch. But I know a load of people who are very, very sad about it, quite rightly. And by all accounts, in that genre, as DJs go, very well respected. Yeah. Fleetwood Mac go and fire Lindsay Buckingham.
Yes.
Which is why you laughing. Do you know that I'm about to go on a rant about Fleetwood Mac?
I feel like you are.
No, I'm not. Anyone who knows me, right? So the thing is, I can't have a credible rant about how much I don't like Fleetwood Mac and how much they suck as a band because right. I am in the massive minority. I have had arguments monthly about the fact that I am out of touch. And I that is exactly the reason. I'm not going to say they're piss poor and I hate them.
But you just did.
You make that assumption for yourself. But yeah, they kicked him out.
Well, maybe he deserved it.
I don't actually know the details.
No, I have no idea.
Listen, I've brought a news story to the table that neither of us know the details of particularly well. That sometimes you just need to, which leads me on to the next bit I was going to say, sometimes you just need to leave stuff as a legacy. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what? Right, this is terrible. When I was 10 or 11, something like that, maybe I was 11, I was at senior school, so I must have been 11, and our maths teacher, for some reason, because he's a psycho, decided that we would do a test, and the test would be guess the ABBA song, and he played 30 seconds of the intro of whatever ABBA song, and we had to guess it. Now, me being brought up on Elvis Presley and, Buddy Holly and all of that sort of thing, I was like, well, I don't know any of it. Like, I don't know how they begin. I know the chorus. Yeah, I was like, I could.
That was my impression.
I would be able to. Yeah, I'd be able to tell you that it's ABBA, but I wouldn't be able to tell you what ABBA song it is. And obviously, I scored 0. And then the maths teacher sort of took the Michael out of me, essentially, in front of the class.
How is this maths?
Well, exactly. Stupid. Freaking stupid. Unbelievable.
Unless, of course, ABBA is some kind of... You're going to use it as, like... what's it called? Algebra.
Some kind of algebraic rubbish. I don't know. I think he was just being a douchebag, to be honest. And it's scarred me and it stayed with me. And ever since then, I just dislike them even more.
I just think it's awful. I'm trying to be like positive about stuff, and I do try not go down a sort of route of slagging people. If I don't get it, it just goes, not for me. I don't really like it. I can see why people like it. I actually genuinely cannot see why people like ABBA. I really try, but it's awful. And so why we're talking about them is, we didn't even say, is that they're releasing a new song after 35 years, and I can't wait.
Why do I not believe that?
Just think, even if you say, okay, put that aside, say,
Yeah.
pretend I really like them and I love all the ABBA stuff. Why would you bring out something now? Like, you've got a legacy, right? People love you. What can possibly... You are not going to bring out anything that is better than that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, like...
That's like Indiana Jones, isn't it? When they brought out the fourth.
Oh my God,
Do you even...
film.
Yeah, you know?
I've never been so angry
Exactly.
leaving a cinema.
We'll see, I think.
We'll
have to wait and see. You never know. We might actually really love it.
Tell you what, we
might
will
have
review a
prejudged.
song. When that comes out, we will review it.
Okay, yeah, I think that's a good idea.
And I can tell you now, I'm probably going to be very complimentary about it, I can tell.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
I do have a little bit of news that's quite important.
Okay,
It's very, very recent. It's to do with music, but it's also to do with theatres. So obviously a lot of music acts play in theatres, especially touring bands. If there isn't a large venue or what have you in local towns, a lot of places, they will use a theatre. For example, before Sub 89 was in Reading, Hexagon Theatre used to be where all the big touring bands were. You know, I've seen like Skin Dread there and Ocean Colour Scene and Reef and all that sort of thing. Huge bands have played there. Their lighting, so theatre lighting, this is to do with an EU regulation. There's a petition going around. So basically, theatre lighting will be rendered obsolete if this goes ahead. So no theatres will be lit.
As in the stages won't be lit?
Yeah, because if the lights, the parts for the lights and the bulbs and things, the manufacturing conflicting...
Energy consumption, I guess.
Yeah, conflicting with a directive, an EU directive. So they're going... but there's no alternative lighting that is powerful enough to produce what theatre lighting does. So if technicians and lighting technicians and theatre technicians can't replace the lights, they have no alternative. The lights will go down. Do you know what? I will actually post this probably on our Facebook because it is quite important. I do have some links and more information because I have not explained it as well as I could have, but that's just because I'm thick and I don't understand a lot of the language that they use. Yeah, shall we...
let's talk about what we were going to talk about.
Yes.
Obviously, we've got our band name sorted. We know where we're going to play, thanks to episode 1 and 2. What we wanted to talk about is how to get band members, or certainly the whole topic of recruiting a band, because it's changed a load. It's changed a load, and it's something we can all, I think, mostly relate to, whether you're in a band or not. You know, there's the how famous bands get together, or you might, you know, if you're in a band, how you guys met. It's changing all the time. And so we're going to explore some of the different ways we were doing it, how we doing it now. We look at some examples. And it has changed a lot. I think, like, this is where, again, I've called myself old already tonight. But like, when you're at school and you're in a band, it's so easy. Like, because all your mates are, you know, if you're in that sort of circle, loads of your friends are, you know, are in bands and recruiting from school and stuff. When you start getting a bit older and you don't, you know, you might be lucky and get people from work.
Yeah.
But other than that, you're into the realms of getting strangers to join bands. And actually, to be honest with you, having done both, I think it's better to join bands with people you don't know initially. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Because the one thing we all know about bands is you will split up at some point.
Yeah. Bickering and disagreements happen. People come, people go. It happens in all sorts of bands. It happens in function bands. It happens in originals bands. It happens all the time. I've definitely experienced an originals band splitting up, and they were friends all from school, and then I joined them later. So I wasn't that bothered, really. I was sort of not like that, but I wasn't surprised. That's what I meant. Yeah. Like, I wasn't surprised that they were bickering and they were having disagreements with each other, because they've been together for such a long time, and they probably just needed a break from each other. Each other's
skin. You just get to the point, and I've been in bands that have got there, and I've also been I've joined bands that have been at the end of their natural kind of life cycle.
Yeah.
And, you're the fresh one in and you're really keen. And yet they're already hating each other's guts. I've definitely been in that situation. You're like,
oh, that's so awkward.
This is really awkward.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my gosh.
So the last band I joined, and I know some of the guys in it listen, so and I had a lot of fun in that band. It was a covers band. I'd never really purposely joined a covers band before, but I joined it, and it was very clear from when I started that they were kind of already bickering, and I think that's probably why the last singer had maybe left.
Oh gosh.
And we managed to get like 2 or 3 gigs out of it, but then it was fairly clear that was not gonna go anywhere.
Yeah.
And I think that's the challenge. If you're friends going into something, you gotta be able to divorce yourself, I think, from the creative side and the friendship piece. And it's very hard if it does go a bit wrong. Yeah, there's definitely people I was very good friends with and I'm not friends with now. But equally, I've been in some bands that I've made really good friends with people in the band, and then we've split up, and then we're still really good friends. I don't know. You just got to be careful.
Yeah, definitely. I think it depends on the dynamic in the band in the first place. I mean, I've definitely had very, very messy band breakups. Yeah, it's kind of strange because I've always been the person to turn up and come into a band that's already semi-established, or they have the core principles of what they want to be or whatever, and I've sort of come in and probably messed it all up for them, most likely. I mean, well, that's rubbish, isn't it? Why are you doing that? That sounds crap. And then they've sort of wondered why the hell they've hired me. I do feel like that sometimes. And then, funnily enough, the most recent band, I did audition for it, but luckily for me, the only other person who auditioned it was like a 50-year-old man, and I just had the cutting edge, apparently. And the reason that I auditioned for it as well was because I actually went to see my friend's band play at a local pub in Maidenhead, and I hadn't seen him for a while. And then he said, "Oh, this is our drummer, da-da-da, and he's looking for a vocalist for his function band." And I said, "You do covers and things like that, so maybe you could go and talk to him, and maybe you could, join his band." So that's how that happened. And then what happened after that was everybody left except me and Sam, and then we had to recruit new people. And I was like, wow, I'm not even an original member of this band, and I'm somehow left holding the fort. I don't know how, but it was quite interesting. But yeah, I met Sean, who is our bassist now, through a jam night.
I think open mic and jam nights in this current climate are great ways to meet people.
Yes, me too.
Because you can hear them as well beforehand.
Yeah, you can see how they play. Because how many people have you auditioned? And I'm telling you, I've actually done this as well. I've auditioned people, and they've turned up and played, and I've gone, oh my freaking God. And but you have to be nice to people, because you can't be a complete and utter tool, even though you want to be like, this isn't for you.
Next.
The buzzer. Get off my stage.
No, you do. You have to kind of be polite. We'll call you. Don't call us. We'll call you. Kind of like, I'll send you an email tomorrow, which is hard.
It's just like, oh God, that was terrible. But it's not. It's always. It's not even all the time that they're terrible. It's just that you can tell right away if somebody's going to gel with your band or not
before you even got the guitar out. Sometimes you go, just leave that in the case, because you got a creepy vibe going on. I'm not sure.
I can feel your creeps from here.
I forgot, it was Nine. No, it wasn't Nine Sides. It was my band after that, Concept, that we talked about last week.
Yeah,
we had a revolving door of bassists, not on purpose, but we just couldn't get a bassist. It was just a nightmare. We had a core group of the rest of us for a couple of years, but we just never had a bassist. I think we got through 6 bassists in 2 years.
Blimmin' hell.
And part of the reason was everybody who turned up to audition, who was a bassist, was really odd. Like, we had one guy who didn't speak to anyone. Like, he just wouldn't say anything. Like, he just...
That doesn't surprise me. Bassists, you're weird.
I said this to someone the other day, and they were like, I think they were actually a bassist. They were like, they're really insulted by it. I was like, in my experience, the weirdest people in bands are the bassists. I don't know whether that's because generally they're in the background, they can lurk in the shadows. But I mean, this guy was a mute. Like, he didn't say, not only was he, like, maybe he was shy, he didn't drive either, so I had to go and pick the guy up for band practice, and he wouldn't say anything the whole car journey or anything.
Oh, man, he hated you.
He just, and I wouldn't have minded, but he wasn't really good. We only had him because, like, it's better to have, well, no, in fact, it probably wasn't, but we didn't have a lot of people coming through.
Yeah.
So it was better to have, in my opinion, a full band so we could actually do a gig and we just turn him down a bit than actually have... I know, that sounds really harsh, didn't we?
Mean.
Yeah. The best bassist I ever... So I did have some really good bassists. My friend Pete, who was in Nine Signs, was one of the best bassists I've ever worked with, and I love you, man. But Pete's problem was that he had a wild time when he was younger, and his cognitive stuff was like, he couldn't remember anything. Like,
oh, no.
We'd just finish a song. So, right, we'll just take that again, run it again. What are we doing?
Oh, no.
Like, you've literally, like, not even 5 seconds ago, finished playing the song. Yeah, I don't remember what I did.
Oh, no.
Like, it was a nightmare. But anyway, I love you, Pete, because you are... When you can remember what you're doing, you were amazing.
Oh.
But yeah, the best bassist ever that turned up, we gave him the job in the band without even hearing him, because his name was Zebedee Fernandez.
Oh, my, yes. If somebody turned up to an audition of mine with that name, I'd be like, you don't even need to come to the audition. The job is yours.
Yeah, that was pretty much what happened. I mean, he was okay.
We're just going to post your name on the flyers because people will come.
Zebedee, yeah, we should. I mean, in fact, that's a better name than concept for the band, right? We should just be called that. He was a ledge. He didn't stay with us too long, I think. I mean, a name like that, he was probably in high demand. I also had a guy who never turned up for the audition, which I was really ashamed, because he would have been a shoo-in as well, and his name was Clint Falcus.
Oh, wow.
I mean, where
are you finding these
That is a strong name. That is a very strong name.
Wow. Yeah, see, I wish I had met people with names like that. I wish I had a name like that. My God.
Yeah, that is pretty good, isn't it?
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm feeling all of those names.
In the period that I was playing in Nine Signs and Concept, which was probably about 10 years, we were very, very lucky that we had Joe Sarker around. Do you remember the record label Joe Sarker? Berkshire Live was their forum site.
Very vaguely.
So in Reading there was some guys. I mean, it was a site. Basically, there was a music forum, and it was very, very busy. I mean, you'd have like thousands of people all logging on, and I got every single member of both bands from that forum. I mean, Nine Signs started because I worked with two of the members already.
Yeah.
So we initially started there, but everybody else we recruited through this site, and it was great. And it was a guy called Jim Bowes who started it, and Kevin Harrington, Andy Stedman, who were local. They were pretty well-known local guys in the community.
Yeah.
Yeah, it started in 1999. It ran for 15 years. Finally closed in 2014 because the guys moved away from Reading, and then there was like, well, we feel like we can't service a community website if we're not in the community
not
anymore.
there,
Do you know what I mean? But it meant
sense.
an awful lot to a load of people. Like, it was the place to get people.
That's pretty cool. Like, I remember probably when I was about 14, 15, I used to go on, it's still going now, a website called Star Now. I used that, and I had some atrocious experiences on Star Now.
It rings a bell.
Yeah, it's still going now. I think they do a lot more kind of, I would say, more professional work than they used to. So it used to be you can pay a membership and you can also have a free membership. And if you paid, you had certain privileges over whatever, similar kind of thing to Lemon Rock, that kind of thing. Yeah. And there was always like loads of bands on there asking for various musicians to join their bands. And one that I applied for, in particular, this is amazing as well. So it was for a metal band, like a metal rock band. They described themselves as female fronted. So I was like, well, it's not going to be, roaring metal, is it? It's going to be, a bit melodic, probably something that I could do. And bear in mind, at the time I was an angsty 15-year-old. So I applied for it and I said, oh, hi, I'm interested in this. They turned out to be in Cornwall, which they didn't say in the advert. So they're in Cornwall and I'm in, Maidenhead, which is in Berkshire. And I was like, right, okay, well, that's a bit far. Can't drive or anything. Don't think my mum's going to let me go to Cornwall once a week for a band rehearsal. Cool, this is going to work. Yeah, let's go for it. So they sent me all of their stuff, some demo CDs, a press pack. A press pack? I mean, I was 15. Why would I want a freaking press pack? It was ridiculous. All this stuff they sent it, and I still have it because it was genius. Like, I got sent so much stuff in the post. CDs, like, not just the thin little ones, like, the big fat cases that you used to get. Yeah, like that. And just lyrics.
Do you know what? That's old school, though. Like, kids these days don't know they're born. You just go on Facebook, oh, I want to join the band. And then, my brother's looking for someone. And you find someone really quick, right? Mm-hmm. We did it properly. Proper old school stuff.
Effort.
I remember having to put the effort in, writing an advert, putting it in the newsagent. When we were looking for people. We paid to have adverts in Krang magazine. And similar to that, we had Shu, who was a good friend of mine. She was the backing singer on my album, which is available on iTunes, by the way. But in concept. And I remember when she applied to us, she sent a proper CV in with her photo.
Yeah, that is old school.
That is
it?
like doing it properly. I remember when we were in Nine Science, we got a letter with a demo CD and a series of printed out promo shots from this girl who was in America saying, I'm moving to the UK, I want to join a band and stuff like that.
That's pretty incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
I remember when I sent some songs to I suppose they were an agency at the time. I don't know if they're still going, but they were like, oh, we'll send us your stuff, whatever. I do remember sending a photo of myself, like a little passport photo of myself, clipped to a bit of paper with, everything about me, what I did, what I wrote, with my demo CD, which I'd recorded, on my computer, probably through a similar microphone to an SM58, but I couldn't afford an SM58 at the time, so it's probably the cheap equivalent that you'd buy, from the music shop down the road that's run by Barry, that kind of microphone that people look at, they're like, it kind of looks like a Shure, but it's not, is it? There's something amiss about that, and you're like, nothing's wrong with it, shh. And it's too trebly, it's got no bass in it, that kind of thing. And they sent me a response back, and they said, while it's apparent that you clearly have some talent,
wow,
we won't be taking you on. I don't know if I kept that. I don't think I did.
No response would have been more polite, really.
It's some talent. But when I got that back, I was like, I've got some talent.
Oh, great, you focused in on that bit, which is good, which you absolutely should do. I'm sure you have got some talent.
Thanks.
It's harsh, isn't it? It's right. If you're ever going to deliver bad news to someone, there's a thing called the shit sandwich. Have you heard about this? No? Mm-mm. In that you should always wrap up the bad news with two bits of good news. They sandwich the bad news so that they kind of
they gave me
so
a
you
shit
should
sandwich.
say things like, thank you for your application, you look really the part for our band. Fortunately, we didn't really like your songs, but you do clearly some talent, and I'm sure you will be very successful. See,
yes.
Basically, what I said there is you're rubbish, but
but you've made me feel good about myself.
Exactly, it's the last thing you hear is a positive. So remember the shit sandwich, everybody. That's the polite way of saying to someone you're rubbish.
Yep.
Or delivering bad news. It is awkward when you're. The thing is, auditions are. I didn't realise this, right? So Nikki, who is the singer from Nine Science, I didn't realise actually this. She's been listening to our podcast. She sent me a message the other day because we were talking about auditions and us, saying we were going to talk about it.
Yeah.
She turned up for our first audition and went home. She was so nervous she didn't come in.
Oh.
I know. I've since been very nice to us since. I don't think we did. I think it is a daunting thing going in. And I remember the first audition I went to, I was pretty nervous because you're like, what do you play? All that kind of stuff. It's a bit like old school. So I had this idea. I texted you earlier and said, I've got a brilliant idea for an app.
Yes.
I think you're going to be underwhelmed. I think having had 4 hours to think about this now, it's not quite as good as I perhaps was raving about earlier.
You never know.
Okay, it goes like this, right? It's very, very similar to another app.
Right. Is it just Facebook?
It's basically Tinder for musicians, but hear me out, right?
Right.
Hear me out,
Yeah.
because I do actually think this is basically, if you listen to this podcast and you decide to go and make this thing, then you are kind of welcome, because I will never get off my butt and actually make this app. But do know that it's my idea and it's on record now, so I will come and see your ass if it ever gets popular. But so here's the idea.
Yeah.
It's a bit like dating, old school, right?
Right.
You had to actually make an effort, meet the person, be nice to them if it wasn't really working out, and then,
let them down gently. Yeah.
let them down gently with a shit sandwich. Then, like these days, kids have got it easy. Like, by all accounts, I've not been dating for a good 20 years, but by all accounts, you literally just swipe right and left.
Yeah.
And I don't even know
Yes,
which is the good one, but it doesn't really matter.
I think right is all right, yes, and left is no.
Left is loser. We might be wrong. Anyway, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
I'm not going to be getting into that game anytime soon.
Yeah.
But my point being, you make a very quick snap judgment, and then basically you just have to sort of go, well, I've matched, these people think I'm nice and I think they're nice, so it takes off that initial thing. So I was thinking, what about if you had like a I Need a Musician app that was based on the Tinder thing? So you have a profile where you load your picture, you load some songs, you load what you're looking for. So I'm looking for a band in this category, and then people can you can either swipe through all the people and go, oh, I like that person, I like what they're doing, I'll add them to my favourites. And then you end up getting these matches where people go, oh, I quite like what you were doing, and I quite like what you're doing. So you takes off that piece. And you can also do it with adverts. So if you want a band members, you could put an advert on there going, I'm looking for a bassist who lives in this area or whatever. And then you could like it. And if they then like you back, then you can message each other and start having conversations.
It's a music match.
Before we get on to the online I Need a Musician websites, which, oh, geez, that's a Pandora's box. I thought I found some really interesting... Well, I tell you what, you can be the judge of whether I find really interesting stuff. I thought it was quite interesting. I just looked back and to see famous bands, what the classified ads, because loads of famous bands actually recruited through newspaper commercials. This one, I was going to get you to guess, but to be honest with you, there's literally no point in you guessing this. Bass player needed for band influenced by Aerosmith, Alice Cooper. Cool slash.
Oh, wow.
It's cool though, isn't it?
That is cool.
I like that. Yeah, and Steve Adler and Duff McKagan both replied to that that ad. It seems to be, I don't know what the Recycler was, it seems to be a magazine in the States, and I tried to do a bit of Googling, because I thought, that must be quite interesting.
Yeah.
Tried to do a bit of Googling. I found loads of magazines about recycling, and nothing
about that.
Nothing about that. I can only imagine. The nearest I found was an image of this, which seems to be some kind of classified ads. I don't know if it was I imagine it was a paper just full of classifieds.
Maybe like the free ads or something.
Yeah, so Guns N' Roses. This one's Motley Crue in the same publication. Loud, rude and aggressive guitarist available. That was actually Mick Mars' advert to try and find other band members, of which he obviously found Tommy Lee and Nikki Sixx.
They obviously saw that and they're like, yeah, that's the guy for us.
Loud, rude and aggressive. Yeah, it's kind of like, he's being upfront of what he...
Yeah.
See if you can guess this one. We did talk about them in the last podcast we did. Drummer, we actually talked about this guy. Drummer looking for other metal musicians to jam with. Tigers of Pan, Tang, whatever that is. Diamond Head and Iron Maiden influences.
Oh, it's going to be Lars, isn't it?
It's going to be Lars. He may as well say, fairly shit drummer wants to form metal band. That was Lars. This one was Kiss. You would never probably got it, I don't think. Lead guitarist wanted with flash and ability. That's weird, isn't it?
Oh.
Album out shortly. No time wasters, please. Paul.
Oh, okay.
So that was for Kiss. And then I'm going to get you to guess this one. This is a UK one,
right?
From I would imagine the 90s. Are you 18 to 23 with the ability to sing, dance? Are you streetwise, outgoing, ambitious, and dedicated? Heart Management Limited, a widely successful music industry management consortium, currently forming a choreographed singing, dancing, all-female pop act for recording deal. And then open auditions, blah 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 blah, and it has the things.
I'm going to say Spice Girls.
It is indeed the Spice Girls.
But I cheated because I knew that it was, I knew the management for them.
Yeah. So they got Mel C, Mel B, Posh, and Ginger all through that advert. They also recruited a girl called Michelle Stevenson, who was later sacked and replaced by Emma Bunton. See, don't just cover rock on this show.
It's everything.
Yeah. This one you might be able to guess. This was an advert in the US in 1965. I don't know why it says the word madness at the top, but so let's ignore that. Auditions folk and roll. That's a weird phrase. Folk and roll music singers for acting roles in new TV series, running parts for 4 insane boys aged 17 to 21.
Oh, no. I want to say the Monkees.
Yeah, it was the Monkees.
It is the Monkees.
It was the Monkees, indeed. Yeah, I thought they were quite fun. Well, not fun.
No,
vaguely interesting. I
thought that was pretty cool, actually. Yeah. It just goes to show you guys you can start off anywhere, can't you, really? You can start off as an ad in the paper and then become, a freaking sensation. Who knows?
You're talking about the Monkees, right?
Yeah, obviously. I quite like the Monkees.
I do. I'm a big Monkees fan, to the point where I had a stand-up argument with someone in a pub once about the Monkees being a better band than the Beatles. Now, I will absolutely...
Bold.
Yeah, bold and ridiculously wrong. Like, I couldn't have been more wrong with that. And in hindsight, I will back down and say that was a ludicrous thing to say.
We had a little experiment where we would post our own adverts.
I feel like you're going to disown me in about 10 minutes.
No, I'm actually really excited about it. But I posted a serious one and no one replied to me.
Oh.
No, one person liked it, but that person who liked it is a friend of mine. Thanks, Rich. And then everyone else sort of shunned me.
Where was this? On social media?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was on Facebook, and it was on the Musicians Wanted page on Facebook. But I decided to go scrolling through and find the funniest adverts that I could, because I thought it would be funny. And I'm just going to read a few of them out. And
I'm looking forward to these.
Yeah, so these are not against anybody. They're not, being cruel or anything. They're just adverts that made me chuckle for various reasons. So the first one that I found, it says, anyone know of a Portsmouth-based lead guitarist looking for an exciting project? We're an originals rock band with an album launch end of June and tours of UK, Spain and China. That's a random tour.
That is a bit random.
UK, Spain and China on the horizon, right? So from what I can guess, that's not booked, right? And then this is this is the bit that
made... There's a possible date in the UK.
Yeah, so...
You go asking you.
This is the bit that also just made me chuckle quite a lot. Age group, right?
Oh, yeah.
Anywhere from 16 to 70. 70. Seriously.
16 to 70?
Yeah, seriously. Our bass player is 16 and our current lead guitarist is 70, but mostly we're 50 to 54. Okay, so I'm not sure, right? This is why this made me laugh so much, is because there's obviously a 16-year-old in this band with a group of guys who are obviously much older, which is absolutely fine. But if they're touring across UK, Spain and China, what parent in their right mind is letting their 16-year-old kid go to bloody China with a bunch of 50-year-old men?
I wouldn't think they're going on some kind of cruise as well. They're going to take a saga holiday.
I just It's
like, yeah, that's a bit weird.
Isn't it?
It's a little bit weird,
and I just thought it was funny because I just thought...
Unless, I'm really hoping, like, what the 16-year-old is their dad, or one of them's...
Yeah, like, that's what I was kind of hoping as well. Like, maybe they're related. Maybe it's his uncle or something.
Also, it's a bit misselling, like, the age range. Like, the age range is clearly in the 50s bracket. You just happen to have an outlier. It doesn't mean that...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
that is a bit weird.
Such a broad range. Such a broad age range. But it's had 3 shares and 4 comments on it. I didn't read the comments because I just couldn't. And then the one literally, like, it's right below it. This one, again, this one is amazing. Looking for a female singer for a goth metal band practicing near Southampton. Age 20s plus, because we're quite old.
Oh, immediately that's got my back up.
Yeah, right. So if you're over 20, you're quite old. Which, so how old is quite old? I'm not sure. A female singer, she's got to be 20s plus.
Oh, see, I don't know whether... Because you know when, like, people get to, like, 25 and go, oh, I'm getting so old, like, oh... I don't know whether it's someone in that age group saying, like, feeling like, oh, we're getting really old now, like...
Yeah.
Or whether they are slightly more creepy, they are actually,
someone
like...
younger than
actually,
them.
like, in their 40s or 50s, and they're going, oh, I quite fancy a 20-year-old. Like, you know...
Yeah, it's different because they haven't actually specified how old the rest of the band are. They've just said, we're quite old. Now, to me, if someone said to me, oh, I'm quite old, I would think, oh, okay, obviously people always overage themselves anyway. I say I'm old, but I'm not old. I'm 32. I know I'm not old. But compared to a 20-year-old, I'm probably old.
Yeah.
But... Again, on the spectrum, if I was to say to a 20-year-old, oh, I'm quite old, they'd probably be expecting a 40-year-old.
Yeah,
or
no offence if you are 40.
Yeah, no, it's not an offensive, like meant to be offensive, but how old is quite old in comparison to someone else?
And it's funny, because there's loads of laws around, like if you're doing a job advert, like for an employment advert, there is so many rules around like age discrimination. Like it would be absolutely illegal for you to just say you can't apply it if you're under this age or anything. But with music adverts, and like for good reason, carte blanche, it's fair game.
Yeah, there's so much debate about it, and also specifying whether you want somebody to be male or female is also really, it's a huge topic of debate, and you see it quite a lot on these musicians' pages. And, you know, it depends. Like, I mean, if you were recruiting for, I don't know, a Michael Jackson tribute, you could probably get away with having a female, but you probably would be looking for a male.
And I don't think that's bad. Like, if...
Well, yeah, exactly, yeah. Right, this is a really old advert, and this advert was put on paid gigs for pro musicians. It had over 100 comments on it within an hour, and I did screenshot them, but they're on my old phone, so I didn't manage to get them. But this guy, he repeatedly posts up for people for gigs. Tanned male singer needed to be a dep for regular singer, £300. If you have any friends that look tanned with black hair, please link them to this, right? So this advert was actually for, all right, a Bruno Mars tribute act.
Oh, amazing.
Right, so instead of just saying, looking for a male singer for...
Bruno Mars.
Yeah, so, you know, Bruno Mars-esque, but it was hilarious.
The way that's worded... Like the colour of the skin is the most important part of that request. Like it doesn't say anything about must be able to sing. Like the thing is, right? Bruno Mars is one of the most talented people, I think, in pop.
You've got to be able to sing and dance.
He's got the best voice, and he's a brilliant dancer. He's an absolutely amazing singer. If I go and see a Bruno Mars tribute act, they're going to have a hard job on their hand because I'm going to expect some kick-ass singing.
I'm just going to do one more, I think, unless I see another funny one. But this one,
some corkers.
This one is amazing. I didn't actually get the whole thing because it's quite a long advert, but it says sax and bongo players wanted, right? So saxophonists and bongo players, right? And then on the advert, I know I've only got the photo of the sax player, but they actually had a picture of congas, right below. So if you don't know the difference between a bongo and a conga, they're quite substantially different. So a bongo is a drum which you can hold on your person. It's quite small. It comes as a couple. Congas tend to be mistaken for bongos a lot. They're tall. They stand
floor standing, aren't they?
Yeah, so they have the stands. They stand probably just above waist height, and they have a skin over the top. They're usually a kind of stretched out oval kind of shape, whereas a bongo is a short, small, round drum that you can hold in your lap. So it was incredible. I was like, wow. So what are you actually looking for? I'm not sure. But yeah.
Wow, that's good.
Oh, this one, hang on, actually, this one is pretty good. Like, this one, I saved this one because I really, really liked this. And it was funny, but funny for all the right reasons. So this guy's posted up, I am a profoundly deaf guitarist, right? So he's deaf.
That's good stuff.
Who also suffers from bipolar disorder, and I would love to put a reggae band together based around the Norwich area. Are there any other musicians with either a disability or mental health problems who are interested? Nothing should hold us back from doing what we love. Many thanks. Right? And I thought that was really, really cool because like obviously when I screenshot it, only 5 people had commented on it, but he got 32 likes and like loves on it. And then it continued to sort of spiral. So loads and loads of people were like, yeah, you go, dude. And I just had so much time for it. I was like, yeah.
That's good. And I felt bad for laughing at the first sentence.
No, but it is funny though. He's like, well, I'm deaf, but I'm a guitarist, but I love what I do. And that's why I loved it, because I was like, that's made me laugh. But I totally had so much respect for him. I was like, you know what? Go for it. I hope you have the best reggae band ever.
So I tried to be honest, I found a site called joinmyband.co.uk, and it's the standard stuff. There was a load of stuff like that. I didn't actually find that many funny stuff, but there was the normal level of I want age ranges between this and that. But I got bored, and I thought I'd have a bit of fun and put in my own, like, clearly. I think what I've learned from this experience is sometimes what's funny in my head isn't necessarily funny in other people's, and sometimes you need to go overboard. Not everyone gets the joke. Yeah. Like, which is fine because it's supposed to be a serious forum. Like, they probably weren't expecting me to like be overly top. So I did a number of them just because I got excited about it. My first one, my first attempt was, the title is Oompa Oompa Accordion Player Seeks Band, London. And I thought, well, what could I say about accordion music? I was thinking accordion music is associated with like French, kind of, it's quite French, isn't it? So I put accordion player looking to start or form band, open to most genres, nothing French, prefer metal. And I got a reply, hi mate, where are you based? Interested.
Amazing. I'm all for that guy.
Like an accordion metal band.
I'm assuming it's a guy. It's probably, it could be a female,
it's
I
Rich.
don't know.
No, Rich from Watford.
Shout out to Rich.
Yeah.
You're a
thanks,
hero.
Man. Yeah, I just thought, like, what would go with... So, vaguely funny, I guess, like accordion player. I don't want anything French. Let's start a metal band. So that was my first attempt, which was good. The next one, I have to say, I thought it was funny in my head. I just went into the realms of creepiness.
Oh, God.
I didn't even get a reply to this one, and I think in the cold light of day, probably fair enough. 39-year-old male... Oh, no, girl band, songs written was the title.
All right.
39-year-old male looking to start girl group with attitude. Think Girls Aloud or Sugar Babes, but without the token ugly one.
Oh my.
all ages welcome due to age discrimination laws, but preferably under 25. Please send photo with application.
Wow.
Now, in my head, that was really funny. I think
and everyone just thought you were some kind of like...
What kind of creepy ass guy are you? But anyway, they made me chuckle. Then so I rein it back in a bit because I didn't get a bite on that one. So I went on a Glasgow area of the site and I put Proclaimers Tribute Act was the title. Ginger Specky Twat seeks fellow ginger for a Proclaimers Tribute Act. No transport, but willing to walk a fairly long way for practice. To which I did get a like. I did get at least a like. Thank you very much. But this is the one that actually got quite a bit of. I think this one people clearly knew I was joking. So the title was "Ding Ding, Who Wants Me?" and I put triangle player, 6 band, can play any style, own transport, can't do Tuesdays. I thought,
I think that's fair enough.
I just thought, let's make it quite boring as well. Like, I put a stipulation. So someone got back to me pretty much straight away. Can you handle mathcore? I didn't know what that was, so I looked it up. It's like a really fast version of like thrash metal.
Oh, amazing.
So I put, yeah, for sure, I'm all over that shit. And then I put, can't do Tuesdays. Someone else put, can you play reggae and ting? And I put, yeah, of course, just hit it on the offbeat. And then someone else, and this is brilliant, someone else put pity, I can only do Tuesdays. I thought, absolutely fair enough.
I love it. Oh, that's so good.
Well done, you funny person.
I do love those, though. Just terrible ads. They make me die.
Yeah, and there's loads. I think if I'm going to be... So I read quite a few reviews about, like, if you're going to do these things, how to make them actually worthwhile. And I think I fully agree with this advice. The best advice I could find on the net was have a dedicated email account. So stuff goes to it. It makes you look more professional.
Yeah.
Be as specific as possible about kind of what genre you want and where your ambitions lie. Because actually, having been in bands, some people join in wanting to get signed, and other people just doing it for a laugh. Let's be upfront about it.
Yeah, definitely.
I think the other good advice that I read was, and I kind of agree with this, you know, and having been in bands where we've been desperate to get somebody just to do a gig, you know, like, and we've taken on maybe a bassist, he's not very good. Take the time to find the right people.
Yeah.
Don't rush into it. You know, if you were dating, you'd want to commit. Like, you want to commit after like the first. Oh, they were kind of alright. They were a little bit not quite what I was after. But do you know what? I'd stick with it. You wouldn't. You'd go on like maybe another date, or you'd have a think about it. So I think that's good advice. And be clear about kind of who's writing the songs. I've definitely been in bands where people have joined the band with their own material, and which is okay, but it can cause a little bit of kind of ruffles a few feathers. And I think you need to always, with a band, you need to establish who's the band leader. Doesn't always have to be the singer or the person who starts the band, but naturally, as you play together, someone becomes the person who is calling the shots, so to speak.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be a democracy, but I think anyone who's, and that sounds a little harsh, but anyone who's been in bands will know what I mean. There is naturally someone who takes on that role.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's difficult when you come into a band via an audition if you haven't actually met the band prior to that. I mean, if that's the first time you're meeting a band, it's kind of difficult to get a feel for the people that you're going to be working with if you do, get the audition or whatever. I've had an audition before, and I remember I sent them my CD, and then I met them after they listened to my CD. So we didn't have any musical rehearsal or anything like that. I literally just met them for a coffee. We had a chat. They said what they were doing, what they do, what they wanted to do, what they have. They were pretty cool at the time. I don't know if they're still going. I actually have to check. But they're a really cool band. They were called the Itchy Tits, and they were.
That is a great name.
Yeah, they were.
Why didn't that come up in our band name?
Well, because I didn't know if it would be too rude or not. But yeah, so they were a female punk band, and they were also on a TV program called Faking It.
I remember that show.
Yeah, do you remember that?
Yeah.
And they had to change the lyrics of some of their songs to be TV safe and stuff. And I met them all, and like they are the most wicked bunch of people. Like, they're so lovely and they're awesome. And I found out through that the position was available because a girl I knew called Sam was friends with them, and she saw me randomly with a guitar on my back, and she said, oh, you play guitar? My friend's band's looking for a female guitarist. Here's their number. And that's
bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's weird how sometimes you can fall into a situation without actually having to find it. Sometimes it just falls on your door.
Yeah, well, I kind of ended up in Nine Signs for that reason. I had, it's a long story, and I'll cut it very, very short. I a friend of mine was doing something I don't know how it happened, but he'd basically got studio space to record something, but didn't have any songs and couldn't sing.
Oh no.
And was just like, can you come along and play guitar for me for this thing? So I turned up, and bear in mind, I didn't sing at this point either. I just happened to play guitar. And he was like, oh, yeah, we've got like 2 hours of studio time. So I was like, oh, okay. So we just quickly made up like some covers, like What Do You Know, What Do I Know? Mm-hmm. I think I ended up playing like Sit Down by James and Round Here by Counting Crows, just because they were songs that I knew. And we recorded it, and I wasn't very... It was the first time I'd ever sung in front of anyone, and we recorded it.
Yeah.
And so I had this CD, and I happened to be speaking to someone at work, and I said... I had a weird weekend. I was in a recording studio doing some stuff. And he's like, oh, I didn't know you were in a band. I was like, I'm not in a band. Have a listen. So he had a listen. He was like, it's not bad. And then, without me knowing, he was in a band with someone else at work.
Yeah.
And he gave him the CD, and they were like, oh, we think you should join our band. We've got band practice like next week. Come along. And I was like, oh, suddenly that's my demo CD. I'm suddenly in a band. Like, so that kind of fell into it without really kind of like, not wanting to, but... Yeah, and the rest is kind of history. But actually, the weird thing about auditions was we had a really awkward moment. So go forward 2 years, we'd all fallen out by that point. Mm-hmm. Or the bassist had fallen out with the singer in our band. Right. And they had a massive big flaming argument. He'd walked out. Our bassist decided, I'm going to start my own band. So he booked, for the next 2 weeks, the rehearsal studio next to us at the same time that we were playing and invited like a load of people to come down, and he'd like, I'm taking my bass parts, you're not allowed to use my bass parts. And then we could hear him like teaching his bass parts to the other. Didn't have anything else, didn't have a drummer or anything else, but it's just like could hear him next door like auditioning these guys like with his bass parts.
Wow.
And like, but he picked like the room next door to us. So it's like, how awkward is that?
Just like, to rub it in your faces, obviously.
Yeah, and I kept thinking, like, I think he's doing it because like, he wants us to go, like, we're really sorry, come back. Like, we didn't. We were just like, well, where's this going? Like, who's coming in next for this audition?
Sitting there listening.
Expecting people to, like, look like us, like, arriving.
That's the token Thsi.
Oh, it's weird. It was really weird. It was just, and awkward.
Yeah, that is really awkward. It's just bizarre, isn't it? He obviously just had a chip on his shoulder about it, and he just wanted to make you guys feel, maybe guilty or sorry for what you did.
Yeah, but it's like, I'm taking my ball and I'm going home. It's like, you can't use any of my bass parts.
Yeah.
It's like, those notes, you can't use any of those notes in your bass parts.
Yeah, I've had experiences very similar to that. Yeah. Well, I think you'll find that I made all of the website content, so I'm taking it all down. Okay.
Oh, we've definitely had that in bands, yeah.
Yeah, and we were blocked out of our website. It was because the guys, like, they just were like, right, we have to get rid of this person. He's not a good player. Don't get on. It's bad attitude, da-da-da-da. So, okay, well, just do it in the most diplomatic way possible. So I chose to do it at the end of a gig, and then paid person. They're like, this is your, like, money, and this is, like, your money for the share of PA or whatever. This is your square, basically. And they were like, that'd be good enough, won't it? And I was like, not really, no. And then they were like, no hard feelings. And then just sort of like...
Wow.
And then, right, they went home, and I was obviously like, oh my God, this is going to turn out like a shitstorm. And lo and behold, it did. It turned into this big thing, and then it was all like, you can't use my band name, you can't do this, you can't use my YouTube channel. It was like, but it's all under the name of the band, and you can't use it. What are you going to do with it? And that was the thing. And it got really, really petty really, really quickly. Bitter,
isn't it? But this is what happens. And this is exactly why, like, it's better to get in bands with people who join for the music rather than with mates. Because otherwise it's really hard to come out the other side. It's like, it's like don't sleep with your best mate, because it's going to be difficult to go. You're never going to get back to that being
back to
mates thing. And, that's not... Technically, it's not always true of bands, because I'm still friends with some people I've been in bands with, and no longer. But it's a risky strategy. it's a risky strategy for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Just an advice: if you're gonna fire someone from your band, make sure you change all your passwords first.
Yeah.
That is my advice of the day. It's never easy telling somebody
easy.
that you don't want them to be in a band with you anymore. Just like, I would say it's probably as difficult as when you're trying to pick someone to be in the band with you. It's equally as difficult.
It's a lot more difficult, and it's so easy these days to hide behind a text or an email or we've had a discussion and the band think this.
The band.
Yeah.
In inverted commas there. Yeah, that definitely. Sometimes it becomes a point when, you know, you really don't get on with a band member and you realise that for the greater good of the band that something's got to give, and then you do have to make those decisions. Thankfully, I've had some situations where the people that, you know, it wasn't working with have naturally left on their own. They've gone, oh, this isn't really for me. And you're like, oh, that's a shame.
It's a real shame you have to leave.
Yeah. That is so sad.
Yeah.
And then you're secretly like, yes, thank goodness. Yeah, that's the best way, I think, is to gently ease someone out of the door.
Just
so
be
they
nice
think
to someone's face and then just be thankful. It's a very British way. I feel like other cultures would just say
it as it is. Yeah. No, I think it's better to just try and convince them that they have better pastures beyond.
You're too good for us.
Yeah.
That we're holding you back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You get it. I don't know. Maybe that's really passive aggressive. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either of us have come off particularly well, like in the last 5 minutes. Spineless, nice to people's faces, kind of like, wow, it's fine for me. I'm not in a band right now. All your band members listening are going, Jesus, maybe she really hates us.
No, I love all of my current band members. No, I love my band members, actually. I love all of them, even though they cause me great misery sometimes.
All we're saying is having 5 people or 4 people be creative and all pushing in the same direction when none of you are being remunerated very well for it is very difficult to keep everyone on the same page.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, audition. I haven't done too many auditions in my life. I've probably auditioned more people than I've been auditionee. Is that the right word?
We'll take it.
I think you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Have I told you a story about when I went to an audition and ended up at a funeral?
No, but I have been waiting for this.
It's the single weirdest thing I think that has happened to me in my music career.
That's like, you've
weird.
always got a weird story.
I know,
though,
this is
you?
kind of really odd. Really odd. So, okay, the background is we had 9 signs and it all came to a finale and we all finished. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to start a new band. And now 9 signs, if I've mentioned them a few times, we had a female singer. Mm-hmm. And I really like that. I've been writing for a female singer for a while. So I had all this material and I wanted the new band to have a female singer. So I put out an advert. And one of the things that irked me a little bit around 9 signs is we settled into a good band. You know, we had lots of people coming and going, but one of the things that was a problem was that we were still young enough to be kind of signed and still young enough to... But most of us were. There was the odd old person in the band and we didn't look like a band.
Yeah.
We played like a band and we were very good, but we didn't look like a band. So it was very important for me when we're starting a new band that we looked. That was one thing I was going to correct. I'm going to recruit people who we all need to look the same.
Yeah,
so
I do have a similar,
Yeah.
aesthetic, yeah.
So I put out this advert saying, looking for a female singer, got loads of songs written, and I got this girl come back saying, I'm a singer, I'd love to come and audition. So I said, yeah, great, okay. And she said, I do quite a bit of karaoke. I normally go down to this pub and do karaoke. So I jumped on that and said, actually, do you know what? That would be a good opportunity for me to hear you sing. We can have a drink, and it's it's less pressure. Do you know what I mean? It's not like you're walking into a rehearsal room.
Yeah.
And I'd already got a kind of drummer lined up and another guitarist lined up. So we got the bare bones of it, but I just needed this singer. So I said, yeah, okay, cool. See you on Wednesday. I'll turn up at this pub. So we arranged the time, and this was, I've never been on a blind date before. but it felt like that. So I arrived early, right? And I was
because obviously you didn't know what she looked like.
I didn't know what she looked like.
Yeah,
no,
okay.
And it, for me, remember, I was kind of like, this needs to look like the proper band.
Yeah.
Not that she needs to be attractive, just we just need to be have a certain look about us, at least within the same kind of like 20-year age range. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, dress similar or whatever. Have similar, yeah.
So I'm there early. I'm waiting at this pub. I'm in the car park, and I'm checking my phone, and I'm thinking, I'm quarter of an hour early. Got to the time we're supposed to meet. Nothing. So I went in. Pub was quite empty, and I saw in the end, I saw someone pull up in the car park.
Yeah.
And she got out of the car, and I immediately just went, that's really harsh. Make a judgment. But she was like clearly kind of in like 50s. And I just thought, do you know what? I don't want to be rude or anything. But so anyway, I'm polite. I'm British. I go along with it.
Yeah.
Right. So she texts me, and she texts me. I've just arrived, and I can see the person getting out of the car who's texting me, and I was like, okay, well, whatever. Let's just get this over and done with. Anyway, she brings her son with her. Now her son is, I'm going to say it, her son's a weirdo. He's like 10. She's brought him along. He's clearly got issues.
Right.
And she do you want a drink? I said, no, I've already got one. Okay, fine, I'm going to go and get a drink. She goes and get a drink. She disappears for like 40 minutes, 50 minutes, maybe an hour.
What?
And I'm stuck babysitting this kid. Right? So, and I'm like, have you got any toys with you? Like, he's like, I've got some Lego. He got some Lego out, and this is the weirdest kid. Like, you know when you see people, and I might be being really harsh. He's probably got issues, but he's the sort of person when he gets older. I mean, I really hope he's not one of those people like who does a school shooting or something. Like he's got that kind of vibe about him. Like,
oh God,
creepy kid.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm stuck, like babysitting this thing, knowing like I don't even want to listen to this like woman really. I'm only doing it out of being polite. So I'm stuck with this kid. So I'm texting my wife, she's going, oh, how's it going? So, to be honest, I'm babysitting now. It's just not really going very well.
Yeah.
Anyway, then someone comes around and says, have a candle. So I was like, oh, that's a bit random. So okay, I took a candle, and then they're giving candles to everyone.
Yeah.
And then someone's asking me to pay for a candle, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, so I didn't really have any money, but I said, I don't really want one. Tried to give it back. No. It was made very clear to me, you're buying a candle. So he gave me this candle, right? And so she's not back yet. I'm still stuck with this kid. He bought a candle. Oh, no, he didn't. I had to buy it for him. So I bought him a candle. So we're both there. And then someone comes around and we're all lighting the candles.
Oh, my God.
And then what I realise is that there's no karaoke on at the moment. It's a wake. And everyone in the pub is there for this like funeral, right?
Oh my God.
And everyone starts standing up and like talking about Jeff who's died, right? And going around the room, and like it gets to me and I'm thinking, well, I don't know Jeff, and I left it too late to go, I don't really know him. So I stood up and I gave a eulogy to this guy. And I can't even remember what I said because I've blocked it mentally out of my head, but I just stood up and went like, I didn't know him that well.
Obviously.
At all. Didn't really know Jeff that well, but every time I've met him, he just seemed like such a genuine person.
Oh my God.
I'm looking around the room going, I'm hoping everyone's like
agreeing.
Was he a genuine person? And I can't even remember what I said, but I kept it like really quite short. And I'm texting my wife going, I appear to be at a funeral. So I said some words, and then it went on and on. Like, bloody picture came out, and they had a cake, and they had like loads of stuff, and it's like another hour. Like, and I'm still, and I can't leave. Like how disrespectful is that to like one of my best mates, Jeff, who's died. To leave.
Jeff, who you really didn't know very well.
So I'm like stuck on this fucking thing. And then I'm thinking like, well, when is the karaoke start? And I'm beginning to think like, I don't even know if karaoke's like an appropriate thing to do now. Like, that seems a bit weird. But it got to like, I'd arrived at like 8:00.
Yeah.
And it was like pushing 10 now.
Oh my God.
It still hasn't happened yet. 10:30, finally someone says, should we do some karaoke? I was like, oh, that will lighten the mood. Yes. To be honest, I'd like some karaoke to at least make this worthwhile for me.
Oh my gosh.
And this woman, she stood up and she started singing. Well, she did a medley. Let's be honest, she did a medley of shit. She did Bright Eyes. She did Total Eclipse of the Heart.
Yeah.
Like, she was the worst singer I've ever heard.
Oh my God.
I'm like, seriously, I've just attended a funeral for you. At least have the good grace to be good, God damn it.
Oh my
it was just
God.
Sorry, I haven't talked about this for a while. It's all come flooding back.
Always happens to you, doesn't it?
It's weird. That's weird. That's not normal behaviour, people, is it? That's not a normal situation to be in.
No.
So, obviously, I did the normal thing and go, yeah, that was really good. I'll give you a buzz tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm never going to ever ring you again, you weird person. You
Block
probably
the
killed
number.
Jeff.
Yeah. Responsible for Jeff not being here tonight.
It's just bizarre, isn't it? It's just
That's
bizarre.
Hilarious. Oh my gosh. Wow. I didn't think that was gonna be it's gonna take me a few days to get over that.
I'm just thinking, and all I keep replaying is, why did you do a eulogy? Why did you just
Why did you just go, it was good bloke, cheers?
Why did you just go, I didn't really know him, but I'm sorry for your loss. Why did you just go along with it? Anyway.
Oh my God.
Bless him.
God bless Jeff. I think that might be an appropriate ending. What do you think?
On that bombshell.
Yeah.
So we'll be back very shortly. We're going to try and do a podcast every 2 weeks.
Uh-huh.
If you like what you heard, if you haven't listened to the previous episodes, go back and listen. If you do like it, give us a share, hook us up on Facebook. If you've got any content or stories or things you disagree with, then get in touch.
Yeah, let us know. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.